The man placed the banknote into the teacup, soaking it completely before retrieving it with satisfaction. He then spread the banknote out, transforming the brand new bill into an old one. Next, he tossed a large number of banknotes into the tea, let them soak thoroughly, hung them on a clothesline, and used a hairdryer to dry each one. They did this because old counterfeit bills are harder to detect. To test the quality of their counterfeit money, they decided to try it out at a small shop. Taking advantage of the crowd, Firoz asked for a 50 rupee soda, but the shopkeeper hesitated as soon as he received the bill. After rubbing it and holding it up to the light, he was almost certain it was fake. Firoz's heart raced. Before he could flee, the shopkeeper grabbed his wrist. Sunny quickly rushed over, using all his strength to pull Firoz away. Chased by a group of burly men, they ran into a secluded alley to hide. Feeling discouraged, Firoz lamented that their month's work had turned into worthless paper. Sunny took the bill and immediately realized the texture was off. The problem was with the paper. Banknotes are made from special cotton paper, while regular paper is made from wood pulp. The texture and sound of the two are different. After extensive research, Sunny found the same cotton paper in a small magazine. They bleached the magazine and hand-drew the intricate designs of the banknotes. They chose to draw instead of scan because tiny letters cannot be perfectly replicated even with a high-resolution scanner. They then pieced together the drawn fragments to create a draft of the banknotes front and back. After reducing the size proportionally and engraving, they polished and baked the template to finalize it. Next, they printed the banknotes using color-shifting ink, which appears differently from different angles. Through repeated adjustments and multi-layer printing, they printed each color one at a time. After washing the machine and changing the color, they repeated the process and then applied a chemical solution. This solution not only gave the banknotes a color-shifting effect but also made them feel crisp and authentic. The most critical step was the security thread. Since the banknote was glued from the front and back, they punched holes in the front side, inserted the security thread, and printed the serial numbers. A perfect banknote was thus created. After soaking in tea to age them, they finally had a wall full of finished products. They returned to the grocery store, this time with Sunny going first and Firoz holding his hand tightly to escape quickly if they were discovered. Watching the shopkeeper take the money, Sunny's heart raced, but soon, he got the soda he wanted. They both could hardly believe it as they left the store. Sunny demanded money from the mob boss. Despite his fear, he confidently took the banknotes. Hiding his hands under the table, he slid 3 banknotes to the boss, challenging him to find the counterfeit. The boss threatened them, saying if he found the fake, they were dead. But neither the boss nor Sunny could tell the counterfeit apart.
What's your price?
500 notes for 200. But only if you...
Only on up. Minimum order of 10 lakhs. Nothing less.
I want 2 crores.
Done.
2 crores? We were shitting bricks, printing 10 lakhs high. Benchud, where will we get so much material from? So many printers, the machinery, where will it come from and how many times will we bring the stock?
Though Sunny remained silent, he had a plan in mind. That night, he returned to his family's printing shop, casually chatting with his uncle. His uncle discovered their counterfeit drafts, which was exactly what Sunny intended. Sunny wanted to involve his uncle and needed the large printing press there. Without arguing, Sunny simply pulled out a banknote and placed it on the table. Uncle was stunned at first glance and, in disbelief, held the note up to the light, examining it repeatedly.
Is this fake?
Art.
To completely ease his uncle's concerns, Sunny took him to a cafe and bought the most expensive coffee with the counterfeit bill. The uncle was restless the entire time, catching glimpses of the owner scrutinizing the bill, making him even more anxious. It wasn't until the waiter brought the change that he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Next, with 30 years of printing experience, the uncle gave Sunny some professional advice. To print in bulk, they would need a large printing machine that could print 6 notes simultaneously. The paper cutter needed a new motor, and they required a fast dryer. Just as they were about to start the big job, a new problem arose. They didn't have the cotton pulp paper needed for the banknotes. The old method of bleaching and drying impurities was impractical for large-scale production. However, cotton pulp paper was strictly controlled by the Indian government, making it impossible for ordinary people to purchase. Desperate, the brothers turned to some street gang friends and broke into the largest local paper mill under the cover of night. The security guards were bewildered, having never seen anyone robbing plain paper before. Fortunately, the brothers found their target on the top shelf of the warehouse. Back at the print shop, the 3 of them started working non-stop, with the mob boss giving them only 3 days. They had to work around the clock to produce the needed 20 million. The mob boss was very pleased with the counterfeit money and paid them in full. As they were about to leave, the mob boss called them back, expressing a desire to continue the partnership. From then on, the brothers' business flourished. Their counterfeit money, indistinguishable from real currency, was highly favored in the black market. The brothers made a fortune. Sunny not only solved the bankruptcy crisis of the family print shop but also took his girlfriend to top-tier restaurants for the most expensive coffee. quickly. However, when he confidently went to pay, he realized he had underestimated the restaurant's prices. Reluctantly, he put away his wallet and pulled out some counterfeit bills from another pocket. This act nearly led him to a disastrous downfall. The change given to the waitress turned out to be counterfeit money circulating in the market. She didn't cause a scene but bought back all the counterfeit bills from the cashier and took them to the office for examination. What they found left them speechless. The latest currency verification machine from the Indian bank, boasting advanced scanning technology, claimed to detect 99% of counterfeit money. If this bill was confirmed to be fake, it would render all currency verification machines obsolete. Under a microscope, they still couldn't find any flaws. It seemed like genuine currency until they soaked the bill in alcohol, revealing its true nature. Megha easily deduced that the counterfeiters lacked large-scale equipment and precision instruments. Perhaps they only had a flatbed printer, but the counterfeiter was highly talented, making the notes almost indistinguishable from real currency. Megha was right. The counterfeit operation was run by a small 3-person team. Their counterfeit notes were so high quality that they were popular among underground gangs, and even government officials bought from them, needing a substantial amount of money for covert operations in the upcoming parliamentary elections. A government official ordered 200 million in counterfeit notes, with the only requirement being home delivery. Sonny didn't hesitate to accept the order. Back at the print shop, his uncle strongly opposed the idea. In the past, their small-scale operations wouldn't attract police attention, but if they started mass production, they would face many issues. For instance, raw material procurement, labor, equipment, and transportation. Uncle's words made Sonny realize that for a big scam to succeed, it needed to be legalized first. So, they registered a publishing company and found an old, deaf, and mute man from the village, convincing him through sign language to be the company's legal representative. They hired a few girls as receptionists, who mostly just answered a few calls each day. Under the cover of the publishing house, Sonny ordered enough cotton pulp paper and began printing counterfeit bills around the clock. But they didn't foresee that bad luck was about to strike. Megha requested a thorough investigation of all the printing shops in the city, believing such high-quality counterfeit notes had to be produced by a small shop. Her superior thought it was a wild goose chase, given the nearly 100 print shops in the city. Not willing to give up, Megha secretly stamped her superior's seal while he was away. While Sonny and his team were working overtime, he suddenly felt something was wrong. Looking out the window, he saw a police car parked below. Megha, acting on the forged order, had come to inspect. The team panicked. The police called Uncle, who instinctively answered. Uncle pretended to be at a bar, claiming the print shop was empty, but the police insisted he cooperate and return within 5 minutes, or they would forcefully enter. Uncle reluctantly agreed and told Sonny and Firoz to hide the counterfeit bills. He exited through the back door to buy them time. Unexpectedly, while shaking hands with the police, Megha moved closer to the door. Just as the last note was printed, Sonny quickly turned off the machine, but Megha noticed the sound. The police ordered Uncle to open the door. When they entered, the brothers were hiding behind a panel. Megha cautiously scanned every corner, unaware that 2 people were hiding right in front of her. As Megha wandered around the factory, Firoz remembered he had forgotten to empty the trash can, which was full of discarded paper fragments from that day. Sonny had no choice but to quietly come out and grab a nearby wrench. In a critical situation, he couldn't think of any other solution. At that moment, Megha's phone rang, allowing Sonny to hide behind a pillar. It was her superior calling to scold her for acting without permission, and even the accompanying officers weren't spared from the reprimand. After being chastised, Megha and her team had to leave reluctantly, letting Uncle and his nephews escape danger for now. But with the delivery due the next day, they were unsure if it would go smoothly. A tycoon's vault was filled with 12 billion in cash, but he didn't dare spend a penny. The culprit behind all this was the small counterfeit detection machine in front of him. He inserted a note, and the machine immediately emitted a piercing sound. Because of this, the police had seized a large amount of his counterfeit money, and several of his subordinates were arrested, leaving his warehouse full of worthless paper. One of his men handed him another 500 rupee note, which, despite its crude craftsmanship, passed through the machine smoothly. The tycoon was shocked. With top-notch counterfeiting equipment, he had been outdone by an unknown competitor. He wondered if his rival had a secret weapon, so he had his men capture the person responsible. It was then he discovered his rival was just a struggling street artist who made a living by replicating masterpieces. His works were almost indistinguishable from the originals, but because they were sold on the street, he couldn't fetch high prices. Forced by circumstances, Sonny began painting banknotes. It was his astonishing artistry that allowed him to draw details too fine for scanners to detect. Mansoor immediately took an interest in him. Recognizing his rare talent, he hired the best doctors in the country for Sonny's grandfather, a gesture that made Sonny and Firoz deeply grateful but also served as a veiled threat. To ensure their family's safety, the brothers had no choice but to work for Mansoor. Mansoor then took them to Bangladesh. There, He had a secret underground facility equipped with the most advanced printing machines. When Sunny produced a finished product in just 3 days, Mansoor was amazed. They then began large-scale printing, and within a month, the brothers had amassed a fortune. The next challenge was how to transport the vast sums of money back to India. But at this critical juncture, Mansoor's most loyal henchman, Bilal, was captured by the police. He knew all the smuggling routes for the counterfeit currency. If he confessed, it would be disastrous for Mansoor's business. So Mansoor secretly returned to India to find Sunny, demanding a solution. Realizing they were in the same boat, Sunny knew he couldn't stay uninvolved. After a night of contemplation, he decided to infiltrate the police. He targeted Megha. Sunny accidentally ran into Megha at a coffee shop. Using his charm, they quickly became acquainted. When he learned Megha was looking to rent an apartment near the police station, he asked a friend to find a spacious, well-lit place. Unbeknownst to her, the broker and landlord were Mansoor's men. Sunny pretended his phone was dead and borrowed Megha's. The broker engaged her in conversation. Giving Sunny enough time, Sunny installed spyware on her phone. From that day on, every call and message Megha received was mirrored to Sunny's phone. This gave Sunny and the counterfeit gang complete insight into police movements. Meanwhile, Bilal revealed all the routes for smuggling counterfeit currency into the country. The police immediately set up stringent checkpoints to intercept suspicious vehicles. However, when the commander arrived, they found millions in counterfeit notes but far less than Bilal had described. Fortunately, more good news came from the police. At airports and ports along the Indian border, they intercepted multiple shipments of counterfeit money, totaling 3 billion. The news was widely broadcast, lifting public spirits, but the police chief felt something was amiss. Although 3 billion was a lot, it was nothing compared to the estimated billions in circulation. At this moment, Megha had an epiphany. She brought in a currency detector and inserted a counterfeit bill. The machine's piercing sound confirmed the chief's suspicions. This was part of Sunny's design. By intercepting Megha's messages, he manipulated the police, making them intercept old counterfeit bills from different locations to confuse them. This tactic allowed them to smuggle in new counterfeit money. Though Megha inadvertently leaked information, she was the first to uncover Sunny's plot within the police. The police began constantly adjusting their strategies, and Sunny kept modifying his plans in response. This back and forth made both sides realize they had moles in their teams. Sunny informed Mansoor, nullifying all previous plans. He proposed a new smuggling route. Unknown even to their own men, the captain threw container after container filled with money into the sea, then abandoned ship. The unmanned ship, like an arrow released, sped towards the crowded beach. Unaware of the impending danger, people eagerly took out their phones to capture the scene, only stopping once the ship ran aground. The police arrived immediately, but the ship was empty, a ghost ship with nothing aboard. Meanwhile, 10 kilometers offshore, Sunny and his team returned. They retrieved the containers they had dumped into the sea earlier, then disappeared without a trace. This was all part of Sunny's plan, to smuggle the counterfeit money into India. They packed the bills into containers. Their plan was to sneak them in by sea. But just as the ship was about to reach India, a phone call forced them to turn back. The Indian police were conducting surprise inspections at all ports, making arrival tantamount to walking into a trap. Reluctantly, they equipped the containers with electronic trackers and sank them into the sea. As the police and public were distracted by the ghost ship, they retrieved the containers under the cover of night. Thus, the brothers brought back 120 billion in counterfeit bills. These bills quickly circulated in the Indian market. The counterfeit quality was so high that even currency detectors couldn't tell the difference, and the public couldn't distinguish between real and fake. If left unchecked, the entire national economy would face collapse, leading to public panic and even war. The masterminds behind this operation, however, reaped enormous profits, buying new cars and houses and living lavishly. The Indian government was in turmoil because even the bank's new currency detectors couldn't identify the super counterfeit bills. Megha eventually came up with a solution. Burning the notes would reveal their authenticity through the color of the flames. Officials were exasperated by this method. Not only were there 120 billion counterfeit notes, but no citizen would willingly burn their money. With a month left until the parliamentary elections, the officials issued an ultimatum. They had to find the culprits within the shortest time, and if not, they would need a scapegoat to quell public opinion. Desperate, the police dug up Mansoor's file. Mansoor headed India's largest counterfeit operation, and only such an organization could produce such a vast quantity of fake money. Though Mansoor had been hiding abroad, it didn't stop the police from publicly naming him. However, what the police didn't know was that Mansoor was indeed the mastermind behind the super counterfeit bills. Soon, Mansoor saw his own wanted news on TV, but this time, the government labeled them as a terrorist organization, alleging allegiance to an enemy state. The aim of printing large amounts of counterfeit money was to sabotage India's financial system, conducting financial terrorism against India. Mansoor was furious but had had no choice but to get rid of the counterfeit bills quickly. One subordinate suggested distributing the fake notes in small amounts over time to avoid police detection. Mansoor, not in the mood for debate, shot him dead on the spot, shocking Sunny and Firoz. This revealed Mansoor's true nature, ruthless and ready to kill without hesitation. The underground market soon erupted as distributors took bundles of counterfeit money. Despite this, 120 billion was still a massive amount. Meanwhile, Sunny, sneaking in spare moments, grew closer to Megha. He was not only seeking police information but also found himself genuinely falling for her. The next day, a client ordered a large quantity of counterfeit money, with the transaction set at a multi-story parking garage. Sunny and Firoz were responsible for the delivery. They drove in, one after the other, and cautiously split into two teams. Firoz hid the counterfeit money in a concealed parking spot, while Sunny wandered around, checking for suspicious individuals. Suddenly, a woman appeared in front of his car. It was his police officer girlfriend, Megha. Sunny instantly realized they were walking into a trap, and there were likely more police hidden around. Thinking quickly, Sunny slammed on the gas, reversing the car. He crawled to the back of the vehicle, uncovering 1 billion rupees in cash beneath the tarp. Using a knife, he slashed open the bags and began wildly throwing money out of the car. The banknotes fluttered out, scattering everywhere, causing all the passing drivers to stop. People started frantically picking up the cash, clogging the road completely. The pursuing police were also stuck in the traffic jam, helplessly watching Sunny and Firoz escape further. However, in his haste, Sunny failed to notice a truck ahead and swerved, causing the car to crash into a flower bed and flip over. By the time the police arrived, the car was swarming with people grabbing the money, and the brothers had vanished. The police were at a loss on how to explain to the public that all the money was fake. The bizarre cash scattering incident quickly made the news. Firoz blamed Sunny for getting too close to the police. Encountering Megha at the raid site meant that even if she hadn't clearly seen his face, she would certainly be suspicious of Sunny. Both Sunny and Firoz simultaneously considered quitting and going clean, but they forgot that Mansoor wouldn't let them off so easily. Sure enough, Mansoor's men found the two and said they were taking them abroad to lay low. They drove to an abandoned building. After the cash scattering incident made the news, Mansoor believed the police had identified the brothers. The two knew too many secrets, and if caught, it would jeopardize his counterfeit money operation. Sunny realized that Mansoor intended to kill them to keep them quiet. Just as the execution was about to happen, the roar of engines echoed from a distance. A gang of bikers, Sunny's closest friends, came roaring in. Sunny had sensed danger as soon as he got into the car and had secretly messaged his friends, who arrived just in time. Back home, the two were as jumpy as startled birds. Knowing neither the police nor Mansoor would let them go, they needed to escape quickly, but a phone call plunged Sunny into despair. The call was from his uncle, informing him that the family print shop had caught fire the previous night, and it wasn't extinguished until this morning. His grandfather had been inside when the fire started and didn't make it out. Sunny was furious, knowing this was all Mansoor's doing. His grandfather, the closest person to him, had perished because of him. Enraged, Sunny decided he couldn't let this go. Under the cover of darkness, he sneaked into the warehouse where the counterfeit money was stored. He called Mansoor on a video call and, in front of him, began pouring gasoline over the stacks of cash, ignoring Mansoor's frantic screams. Finally, Sunny lit a match and tossed it into the pile of money.